Hello, welcome. My name is Steph, and today I'm going to be talking to you about all of my tattoos. For context, I am currently 21. I got my first tattoo when I was 19, and I have currently six tattoos, which doesn't sound like a lot, but they're all pretty big. They're taking up a lot of real estate. Not a lot, but a lot of people, they have six tattoos and their six tattoos are like really tiny. But I feel like my arm is, we're getting there. We're getting there. It's kind of a lot. So let's just go ahead and get started with my very first tattoo that I got, which is on my rib cage. Looks like this. Like I said, I got this one when I was 19 in a friend of a friend's apartment, which is not smart. Don't do what I do. But basically, I had met someone who is, now they're a good friend of mine, Indigo. I met them at a show and I was like, oh my god, you have the coolest tattoos. Who does your tattoos? And they sent me the Instagram of their friend who did their tattoos, and I messaged them and I was like, I love your art. I want to book a tattoo with you. And I didn't know when I originally messaged them that they do all of their tattoos out of their apartment, and at the time they had only been tattooing for about 3 months. But I was like, cool, me next, me now. I wanted to get a rib tattoo, one, because I don't really like the small and dainty tattoos. It's just like, I like much bigger, bolder stuff. It's just more my style. But I wanted something that I would be able to hide for kind of as long as I needed to or wanted to. And so I was like, I want flowers. I want it on my ribs. Draw me something. And they drew me that. And I was like, gorgeous. Let's do it. It took kind of a while because we were all just like sitting and chatting the whole time, but they charged me a really good price for it. And I love it. It turned out great. So whatever. The design itself doesn't really have any meaning. I was at the end of my freshman year of college. I was about to go home. And I was just like, after my freshman year, I felt on top of the world. I felt so good. It was like the most social and the most worldly experienced I had ever been in my entire life, as I feel like a lot of like little hometown people feel whenever they go to college, But I was like, I want something that like when I look at it, I'm just gonna remember this whole time in my life, these past few months, and like how much I've learned and how much I've grown into myself. And I feel like the design itself doesn't really have to matter for that. I guess like flowers, like it kind of does, but I didn't really care that much about the design. I was like, I love the artist, I love their work. I got to go with my friends, who at that point was like a person that I was a fan of, which was really cool. And I just got a cool tattoo that is gonna remind me of how fucking sick that was. Okay, and then I started working on my arm. So the second tattoo that I got is the one that is on the inside of my arm. Looks like that. People ask me all the time. They'll like come up to me and either say like, what is that? Or they'll like try to guess. They're like, oh, it's a backpack. Some person asked me if it was a grenade. I was like, no. And also like, don't say that. Like, if somebody has a tattoo and you don't know what it is, like, I don't know, don't guess random shit. Like, it's rude, but it's clearly a little pot of flowers. There are clearly flowers coming out of it, okay? I got this one in London. I was living in London doing a semester abroad, and I found this place full of, like, really fucking cool people doing really cheap tattoos. It was, like, this warehouse. I found them on TikTok, but I think that they have since closed because, my friend was, like, asking where I went as a recommendation, and I, like, tried to find their Instagram, and it was gone. And so either, like, they rebranded, they're under a different name, or they moved, or they closed, or something, I don't know. But it was called OK Space when I went. And again, the design was kind of like a similar situation to my first tattoo, and they're kind of a similar style of, like, that, like, more feminine version of the ignorant tattoo, like very cartoony, and they're both floral too, which I really wanted. That's like a common theme that I have through a lot of my tattoos, and I love it. But yeah, the design, again, didn't really matter too much to me. I was just having a great time living in London. And also the day I got this tattoo, I went with one of my best friends, and that night we went to a West End show that David Harbour was doing. And so it was like the day I got my tattoo, and then I rushed to go meet David Harbour, which was so crazy and fun. So yeah, again, I looked through the artist flash and I picked, like, this one felt like it was calling to me. You know, like I flipped through it and this was the only one that stood out to me as like, yeah, I really, really like that. So yeah, I got it and it reminds me of that semester and that really fun day with my friends. I'm really happy about it. Okay, and then the next two, I honestly can never remember which one was first. I got this one and this one a few months apart, and I got them at the same studio with the same friend, and so sometimes I kind of get them mixed up on which one came first, but I think I got this one first. I got my first 3 tattoos when I was 19 in 3 months, which after that I was like, 1, that was a lot of money really fast, and 2, like, it just felt like a lot. I was like, I love getting tattoos, but like, I'm gonna slow down for a little bit. I got this one in June, this one in July, and then this one in August. So I was going pretty fast for a little bit there. Or at least, like, I know a lot of people like get new tattoos every week, but like, you know, for me, it was a lot of money and it was like it felt like I was going real fast. So after the first 3, I've only been getting them like every few months or so. But this one is my first script tattoo, as you can tell. It says "You're My Kind," which is the name of a song that I really love. It's by a band called Why Not, who I actually saw perform in DC with 2 of my friends, and it was really fun. We like drove up there and went to Pride and saw the show, and it was so great. It was so much fun. So it reminds me of that, and it also just like the phrase itself, I just thought was a really cool way of like encapsulating all of the new people that I had been meeting in my adult life at the time. I just felt like I was like finally getting to a place where I was meeting like my soul family, like people who understood me finally for like the first time ever. And so I just thought like "You're My Kind" was just like a great way of saying like I was finding my kind in the new people that I was meeting, like at college, in my adulthood, in Boston, because I moved to Boston. Yeah, I was just meeting so many people where I was like, you are either going to be a part of my life forever or like you are going to inspire me for the rest of my life. So, and I didn't know what I wanted the font to be, like no font was feeling right to me. So I asked my friend Grace, who I was going to get tattooed with, if she would write it out for me. Yeah, this is in Grace's handwriting, and it literally, everyone tells me that it looks like she just like took a Sharpie and wrote it on me, which I totally agree. It looks so good. And I got this one in my hometown, which means that also my first 3 tattoos were done in 3 different cities, which I think is so cool. Boston, London, Richmond. So really sick. I love that. And then a few months later, the next time that Grace and I were both home at the same time, we went back to that same studio and made other appointments, and I got my little ghost. I'll show you a little better. There she is. Her name is Francesca, and she's just really cute. She's like in love, bringing flowers, getting rejected by the look in her eyes. Grace actually drew this one for me. So she like drew up this one and this one for me, just like completely from scratch, just because I asked her to, which I think is like so cool. Thanks, Grace. Love you. Love you so much. But yeah, we got these tattoos together again, which this one out of all of my tattoos has the least meaning. I really wanted it. I have been wanting something like this for a really, really long time. And I also really like the ideas of taking tattoos that are like kind of basic or like have been done before, and getting them like custom drawn in a new way, or like adding something that makes it like really me and different from other people's version of the tattoos. So like a lot of people have sheet ghost tattoos, but I really wanted one that kind of matched the vibe of all of my other tattoos, and so I added like the flowers and the hearts and the little teary eyes, and I think it's just like, honestly, even though this one has the least meaning, it might be my favorite tattoo just because I feel like it's so me. I just love it. Okay, next, I guess the next one was my big tattoo. This is what she looks like. It is so beautiful, and I always get compliments on this tattoo because it's so good. This was done by Aaliyah at Lucky's in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And it is a redesign or like a redrawing, reimagining of the book cover of Sylvia Plath's The Three Women, which is a one-act play in verse. It was like published for a very, very limited amount of copies with this cover, or like a simplified version of that cover. And Sylvia has just always meant so much to me. She is like my hero, one of my favorite people, and definitely one of my favorite writers. I have kind of like, I say I've been a writer my whole life. It's always been my like preferred method of expression. I've always just really loved it. And Sylvia has stuck out to me as like one of the people who, when I read her writing, I'm like, I want to write like that. She is so powerful and brilliant, and I have all of her books and all of her letters and diary entries and biographies all up on this top shelf. I love her so much, and The Three Women is one of my favorite works by her. I wrote essays on it in high school when we had to study Plath, and that poem means so much to me. I love it so much, and I just think that the cover of it is so beautiful. For years, I have wanted the cover of that book tattooed on me. So I found an artist who I thought was incredible, and I loved all of her work, and I asked her to draw this for me, and she did, and it's so pretty. This took 2 sessions. Overall, I think 4 hours. So the first session we did all of just the outlines, and the second session we did just the shading. It looks so good. And a funny thing about this tattoo, people ask me if it's the Brontes, because the Bronte sisters are my other like huge literary inspiration. I love them so much. I think all of their works are so brilliant. And I have like the 3 girls on my arm, and so my friends are always like, are those the Brontes? And I'm like, they're not, but like I love that. It kind of has like a double meaning to it too, because it does look like them. Like this one really looks like Anne to me. Like that is Anne's face, you know? And this one is definitely Charlotte, and this one is definitely Emily. Like, they have the same vibes, and they kind of look similar, which I think is like a really cool and weird coincidence, and I love that about it. Since this one was 2 sessions, and it was really big, and it was way more expensive than any of my other tattoos, after I got this one, I kind of took a break for like 9 months, and then I just recently, like last week, got my most recent one, which is this one on my arm. I will zoom in for you. It says, "Beauty is not in the rose." Yeah, I wanted to get it kind of right next to this one. I had the idea of getting some text right next to that tattoo for a while, and I just like didn't know exactly what text I wanted to put there. And originally I wanted to get "Beauty is not in the rose" on the other side of my ribs. But my brother and his roommate were recently in town for the 4th of July and for his birthday, and they were going to get tattoos. And I was like, can I come with? Because I really want another tattoo. I've gotten the itch again. I am so ready to get more tattoos in the near future. And so they were going, and I was like, I really want to go with you. And this was like the only thing that I like for sure knew I wanted to get tattooed. And it was the only thing that I could like do myself. Like obviously I can pick a font and type it out and bring it into the studio. Like no one needed to draw it for me or anything. And so I just decided that this would be the easiest and like and the best tattoo to get, because it was the only thing that I like knew for sure that I wanted. So I just like typed it up on my phone, and I really wanted it to be just like a really basic, readable, like almost typewriter looking font. And so I don't remember exactly what font this is. I don't think it's Times New Roman, but it's something very similar. Yeah, and since we were like doing walk-ins, I didn't really want to get it on my ribs because I was like, my other rib tattoo, like, is gonna be more expensive than an arm tattoo, you know? And so I was like, I don't really want to pay that much right now. I can't really pay that much right now. I would rather just get it on my arm and have it be cheaper. So I got it on my arm. Beauty is not in the rose is a thing that one of my favorite painters, Agnes Martin, said. And the full quote is, "Beauty is not in the rose, beauty is in your mind." Which I think has always stuck with me. It's been something, and like her work as a whole, all of her paintings, and like her interviews and her as a person, like she and her work have just helped me so much throughout my life. I learned about her for the first time when I was, I think, 13. And like looking at her work and hearing the stories behind it, like it helped me so much through like some of the darkest points of my teenage years and even into my adult life. She remains like one of my favorite artists. And this quote has just always stuck with me as like something that I just thought was so cool. Just like a reminder that, like, you know, we're all alchemists. Beauty is in your mind. You can always like create something beautiful or find something. That sounds really fucking stupid, but like you get it. But like beauty is not in the thing in front of you. Beauty is like, it's in your mind. It's how you perceive things. It's how you think about things. It's a basic ass meaning for a tattoo, but like whatever. I love this tattoo, okay? I also am like coming out of a very emotional time in my life where like my mental health has been really bad and I've been like all over the place emotionally. And so getting this quote now also just felt really fitting. Like it's been with me for such a long time, and like I feel like I am just coming out of a part of my life where it was again really relevant to me. And so it just kind of like worked out that I had this idea brewing in my mind for a long time, and I just happened to get it at like yet another point where I felt like she is like really helping me and she is really relevant to my life. So that's cool. Okay, so that's about it. Those are all of my tattoos. I definitely want to get another one soon, but I don't know when or exactly what that is going to be, so I really wanted to film this video. So I thought I'd just film it now. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you like my little stars? They're so cute.